And hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of the Reservists. My name is Joseph.
Jess is here as always.
And this is Faisal.
Yo.
Oh, this is super awesome. Hello everybody, I hope everybody is well all the way from Singapore to all the way across the world. I know it's a rough time right now, we've got COVID around, but hey, guys, we can still have fun and stay at home, wash your hands, and stay safe everybody.
Don't touch your face.
Don't touch your face.
Don't touch your face. That's a new slogan that we have right now. And the reason why we started this episode with singing Gatsby is because we've got a very interesting theme of the day. We're not going to talk about COVID all the time, but we've got interesting theme. Jazz, you want to introduce it?
Yep. For this episode 5, the main topic will be about Japan, Ichiban. But before that, we'll be spending a few minutes to talk about this COVID-19. And in regards to the Lee Hsien Loong's address to the nation, as well as around the world, we'll just dive in for a while, and then we'll be talking about the land of anime, the land of the rising sun, the land of, I don't want to say the third one.
What's the third one?
Katsudon. What's the third one?
No.
Wait, what you thinking about, bro?
Sushi? Are you talking about sushi?
Very interesting. Sushi.
Talking about food, yeah. Kobe beef.
素晴らしい。いいですね。皆さん、let's begin with Lee Hsien Loong address to the nation.
Oh, okay. Hi. Okay, so the address was announced on Friday afternoon. I think it took over Singapore social media by shock, because I think it was announced at 2 p.m, right? And then the nation's address was like at 4 p.m. So it was very sudden. People were still at work. So I think it was about 2:30 p.m. onwards, people were already doing all this panic buying in the supermarkets. It caused quite a lot of stir. People were spreading rumors that this is it. This is DORSCON raid. This is lockdown. Because on the Friday morning, it was the fifth death for COVID-19 in Singapore. So I think people weren't taking it very well. So yeah, it's not really a lockdown now, but it's a circuit breaker. So many people were saying that this circuit breaker is like a DORSCON very, very, very dark orange. It's not red, it's not orange, it's in between. So it's a very dark orange. It's called DORSCON circuit breaker. So basically, it's like, if you really look at the things the government has put in place, it is just like DORSCON red, except it's still very minimal deaths. DORSCON rate is quite clearly stated that there is a big amount of death. But for this, so far, we have only 6, right? 6 only, right? I think the 6 was yesterday. And so far, it was all elderly people. I think all of them were above 50, above 60. Yeah, so, but that doesn't mean that we can take it for granted. Still take all these safety measures and practice good hygiene.
Definitely.
Yep. Guys, I think really at this point of time, when we're looking at every life is important. When we're looking at this situation, we need to think about every life being important. And we shouldn't treat this as a DORSCON raid. What we should treat this as is prevention. It's a prevention towards DORSCON raid. And all of us can do our part. Stay at home. Don't go to crowded places. If you need to take a walk, go to the nearby parks, like what Lee Hsien Loong has said already. The PM has already said that. Stay away from people. You don't have to. Whenever possible, you just reduce your non-essential travel, and don't go around the island too much. If it's not necessary. I know there are a lot of essential workers out there, and these people are fighting the front and keeping our civilization moving forward. But let's do this in order to stop ourselves from entering DORSCON raid, and we all can do it together. Yeah, this is just a prevention. You shouldn't be panicking. You shouldn't be going to the supermarket. You don't need to, because we have enough supplies. All the things that you're seeing right now, it's just to circuit break. The problem of a circuit break is to stop any widespread transmission. It's a very engineering term, guys.
Yeah.
And I know we have engineers here as well, like Faisal, right?
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Okay, maybe Faisal, you can tell us more about what's happening at IKEA. There was a shocking long queue just started 20 minutes ago. You sent us the image on WhatsApp.
Yeah. So wow. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they need space or they need the latest ingredient cupboard to store all the toilet paper that they're hoarding. But maybe stay at home, guys. Whatever that you can buy at IKEA, probably not critical to your survival.
Yeah. Why are people at IKEA? Like, why?
Yeah. And from the picture that Faisal sent us, it looks like it's a mass gathering lah. Looks like so many people cram into that one spot just to queue.
Yeah. I know IKEA will be closed for a month, but it'll be okay, guys. After this is over, you all can go back to IKEA. You can buy all the Allen keys you want. But for now, please please stay at home. Please really do stay at home.
I have a theory. I have a theory why people are going IKEA. Because I think because they're all stuck at home, right? So they're thinking themselves, I need to make this one trip to go to IKEA and buy everything I need, to start arranging my house and do Marie Kondo at my house. Like, really organize my house properly since I have so much time at home. They realize when they're spending so much time at home, they realize how uncomfortable it is, the dust, the clutter. So this is like a major decluttering exercise lah. Yeah, before they cannot get their Allen keys, and their, smorgasbord cupboard and their Hulusswolfen hand.
Maybe it's to prevent boredom as well. I think these measures that the government has implemented is going to last for about a month. So yeah, perhaps maybe people were already thinking how bored they can foresee themselves at home. So you buy all these jigsaw puzzle furnitures from IKEA to occupy yourselves. Maybe, I'm not sure.
So, there's a method behind the madness lah. Why is this happening? Okay lah, understand. But don't, guys, don't. All right, man. So yeah, I think all of us really are just hoping and supporting our nation during this time, and we're all for every Singaporean out there. And we're also not just thinking about Singaporeans here. We've got a listener all the way in Japan, and she's been commenting on our YouTube also. It's Jie Yin is all the way in Japan.
Hello.
Yeah, Jie, we are also even though you're all the way over there, we're going to reach you from all the way over here. We're going to talk about the country that you're in right now, the land of Japan.
I'm guessing that she's probably doing her bento right now while she's listening to us.
Yeah, like cooking, and then we are here, as usual, we're here to accompany you. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, man. Hey, Jazz, what do you, when we first talked about Japan, I think you talked a lot about food, and you're very interested about food. And I know that you traveled to Tokyo as well. And maybe you'd like to tell us a little bit more about what how are your experiences been about Japan, and share with us the things you love and the things that you also are, a bit like, share with us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I think this episode is gonna be only about 30 minutes long. If I were to really dive into my experience in Japan, I think it will take probably 2 to 3 hours lah. So I'm just gonna dive into maybe the food and the lifestyle of Japan. So the last time I was in Japan was early 2018. I was in Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, and Mount Fuji. Not exactly at the Mount Fuji, but it was quite nearby. I forgot what's the name of the place. So my best food experience was in Tokyo, and there was this. I was just walking through. It was in the evening already, so I was looking for dinner, and then I was looking for those very, very, very nice beef that people were always telling me to try. So in Tokyo, there wasn't any Kobe beef. Kobe beef, I think, is the best premium beef. I think
you can get it in Osaka and Kobe. They're next door.
Is it?
Yes.
But in Tokyo, I couldn't find it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's there, but I just don't know where. So I found this small restaurant that serves Wagyu beef. So I'm not really very particular when it comes to food lah. I mean, as long as it's edible to me, I'm fine with it. So I just went to try lah this Kobe beef. It was about 10,000 yen. I think that converts into $100
$50,
SGD.
150 Sing, about 113 lah. Maybe two years ago,
around
113, yeah. 130 around there, yeah.
So my experience was that when we entered the restaurant, it was a very small restaurant. It was like probably the size of an average classroom. So I was sitting one table away from where the chef was cooking. And then I ordered the Wagyu beef. It's the most expensive set in the restaurant. So he took out this slab of beef. I was watching the whole thing lah. It was like a show. So he took out the beef. He put it on the frying pan, the frying table.
Yes, nice.
Yep. Set, and then it at first I couldn't smell anything. Then once he put in the seasoning, he starts cutting the beef. Then slowly the smell comes out. So
Oishi desu.
and yeah, oishi. The smell was already oishi. And then I was really looking forward to the meal. My mouth was already watering, and all they give me was peanuts and green tea to curb my craving. But wow, I couldn't stand it. So I think it took about 10 minutes for him to finish the meal, and then it was served to me.
Yep.
So it was served with the beef chopped up in dices and accompanied with vegetable and roasted garlic.
Yes.
So yes, yeah, and wow, getting too excited. Okay, so then when I tried my first beef in Japan. So when I tried, it was like that scene in the anime where you put in the food into your mouth and then a rainbow comes out and then my eyes glitter.
The Japanese flag appears behind you.
Yeah. And it was so good that I felt like, like I really wanted to punch the chef in the face, and it was so nice, Damn nice. And it's not only the taste, it's the texture. It's like meat / butter. It's like it melts in your mouth like that. And it wasn't even Kobe beef. It was just a very high premium Wagyu beef. It's not the best slice of beef, in Japan. And it was already so good. And then, that was the best food experience I had so far. I think probably in my whole life. That was probably the best so far lah.
Cannot forget, right? You just cannot forget that moment, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty about food experiences in Japan, man. When you go there, every single restaurant, if you go to really well-run restaurants, even the B-class restaurants, so about B-class food, it's not only like your Kobe and your Wagyu, all that. I think it's more towards the B plus and B A class. But there's a B plus food. There's your omu rice. There's your everyday, katsudons. There's your bentos and all that. And you've got actually different grades of food there. And if you've got a chef that really is dedicated to the craft, right? I tell you, you're definitely in for a great experience every time you're there, lah. Yeah, and I totally agree with you, man. Like I went for Kobe beef or so before, and it was in Kobe itself. Actually, if you go to Osaka, it's great if you actually took a trip. It's only a 1 hour train ride or less, right, to Kobe, nearby only. So next time we can talk a little bit more about later we can talk a bit more about travel itineraries. Once this COVID thing is over, people can really get around again. But yeah, you go to Osaka, 1 hour journey, Kobe beef. When you have it, it's definitely an experience to remember. Yeah, likewise also, I think your Wagyu grade must be quite high. Yeah, so that's why it's 130 plus, and definitely the taste and the umami, right, will be killer. One thing that people don't really eat a lot actually is a full yakiniku. So for $30, or just $30, right, if you go Kyoto, right, there are yakiniku places, right, where the chef, right, will serve you beef, right, and you'll serve you different parts of the beef throughout an entire course. So it starts with your beef sashimi, beef consomme, and then they keep changing to different different parts of the beef. Then they'll lead you through an entire course about it. And I think the quintessential part about Japan food, right? Think about it like a magnifying glass. Like every single dish that they bring out, right? They're not trying to overwhelm you with flavors and textures. They're just trying to magnify one ingredient, right, and make it really good. Like when you had your beef, right, it's like they're taking a magnifying glass and letting you appreciate the taste of beef. And yeah, man, I think that is the way that the Japanese are really approaching their food. It's a dedication to just one ingredient and one set of things, right? And they make it so nice and so good and so fresh. And that kind of craft it's just like, you know, the way they build their samurai swords. It's like really they just have that dedication to one thing, and it's very impressive. I do not know whether we can even find it in Singapore. That level of dedication. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Tell us more, like what other things that you noticed when you were in Japan? What other things you appreciated as well?
I think I just want to point out that I don't really appreciate the train map. It's so hard to read the train map, and it's mostly in Japanese. So I have to memorize how the character looks like in order to go to where I want to go. Not every train station has the English version of the map, and it was like it was so messy. Their map. So the first time I went to Japan was I think about 4 or 5 years ago with my friends, and I think we got lost a few times because the map was just so confusing. We don't know where to go, how to get back to our hotel. We just don't know. That was the one thing. I mean, the train map is so hard to read. But on top of that, when we are in the train, right, it was so quiet. It was like a library. It was so packed, but it was so quiet. Like opposite of Singapore trains, I think also fairly quiet. But this was like, if you close your eyes, you won't even know that there are people in the train with you. It was that quiet.
I got 2 funny stories you just reminded me of Japan, on trains especially. The first one is regarding maps, the one that you just said, because so the thing is, when I'm in Japan, I realized that when I speak in perfect English, like you know, if I speak in like normal, you know, Singaporean English, right, sometimes people can't really understand, you know. So I do this really weird thing, and I know that I shouldn't be doing it, but I realized that people understand it a bit more. Is I speak with slightly what I think would be I consider it a Japanese accented English. So, I would really talk to the people there and go, Soru, I want to go to, you know, I ask the person, like, I want to go to, then tell them the place, and then like, Himisashi or something, station, then they will go, then they can speak to me, you know. But sometimes there was this one lady, right, that I went up to her and I asked her like, I want to go to that station and everything, right? And then she looks at me, and I said, I want to go to something station. And then she looks at me and she goes, oh, so you want to go to this station? And then she's like speaking to me in perfect English. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I sound so like stupid. Then I get so embarrassed. I just look at the map, right? And I have no idea what the map means, right? Because it's like trying to read like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. You know? You're just trying to understand. Then the girl comes to me and says, oh, it's okay, you know, people over here, it's hard to read the map for the first time. so I get very embarrassed. But I should have talked to her more. You know, I think she would have been a good friend. And then she gets off the next station. Second time I go to Japan, right, I tell my friend already, hey, you know, when we're in Japan, right, we have to be very quiet on the train, okay? We cannot be rude, because if you're loud on the train, right, if you talk on the train very loudly, you're being very rude. So this suddenly out of nowhere, right, this old man, right, comes out and goes, where are you from? I'm like, what the heck? He's like speaking super loud, where are you from? Then he starts this whole conversation with us. Oh, Singapore. Then, oh, good. I go Singapore. then I'm like, he's talking so loud, right? I'm like, whatever I just told my friend doesn't apply. Then he tries to match me with this other lady on the train. So there's this
Really?
girl, yeah, she goes like, oh, single, are you single? Yes. Then he points over there, pretty, pretty girl. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, this uncle drunk. And so this is happening to me. So Japan can be a land of also contradictions. There are, it seems like the older you go, the more you can break the rules, Yeah, the older that you are there, because they really respect their seniors lah. It seems that it's very interesting because the Singaporean culture versus the Japanese culture, it's really really different lah. Like, but we have some similarities, but really that kind of respect and the kind of politeness they have is really a lot lah. One more interesting story was in Disneyland. I was in Disneyland, right, and then I was talking to one of the staff because I was really concerned that my mom couldn't really walk up the stairs in one of these places. Yeah, so I was trying to explain to him that is there a lot of walking, and I knew, and suddenly, right, I realized that there's this man that he suddenly goes, he is saying that, then he explains to me what the staff is trying to tell me because he can't really speak good English, and then I look at him, right, and then I realized that I think he spoke out loud, right, because I may be taking too much time with the staff, and then maybe I'm stopping like the line or something, but it wasn't too long. It was only about 10 seconds. Then he looks at me and I look at him, and he bows suddenly and says, I am sorry to interrupt your conversation. I'm like, whoa, it's cool, man, it's cool, but that kind of politeness and that kind of manners that they have, right, I really don't know how I can stay in Japan for long. And what do you think, Jazz? What do you think about the culture there? Do you think you can stay there for a long time? What is it that you may find like a tricky staying in Japan as a Singaporean, or what will you appreciate? Yeah.
I think I appreciate the peacefulness over there. On my second trip to Japan, I never stayed in a hotel. I stayed in a like Airbnb. At those very small, what they call it, the ryokan, is it? Ryokan. Yeah, I stayed there. So I was residing in the neighborhoods lah, and it was very quiet. Like after 8 p.m, it was already so quiet. But the people were still walking around, but just very quiet. I really appreciate the peacefulness over there. But for me as a Singaporean to try and live in Japan, I think I would feel a little bit restricted. Because I remember the first time I went to Japan with my friends, and there was a night that we were very noisy lah. We were having a good time. It was midnight and we celebrated Christmas. So we were walking back to our hotel, and we were just walking in the middle of the road, dancing and singing out loud. And then halfway it started to snow. It was the most beautiful thing. Then but at that avenue there was no residential houses. Like it was all like hotels and business buildings and schools. So it was okay to make that much noise. But then my second trip to Japan, I went with my girlfriend. So we resided a lot in Airbnbs and ryokans, which was like in the neighborhood lah. So whenever I walk back to the house from the train station, we have to be very quiet. I cannot really talk out loud. I can't do my singing and dancing. So it felt a bit restricted lah. So maybe perhaps that is the one of the few things lah that I think I would struggle to I would struggle to get used to lah if I were to live in Japan.
I think for me, if my main struggle will be driving. Because Japan can tend to be this mountainy region, right?
Yeah.
And as you know, I was reading this magazine about how they deliver food like tofu in these mountainous regions, and most of the time they're driving sideways, and so it's going to be a big challenge for me, I think, to drive a car sideways up and down a mountain.
Sideways? What do you mean?
Sideways, I think the word they use is drift. And
Drift.
so, and so it's Yeah, I think I can't. I just can't do it.
You think they use the word drift, is it?
No.
You think?
I thought it's talking about initial D.
Wow! Just to deliver tofu.
Yes, yes.
Oh, we can-
Really?
In the
Yeah, I
anime.
read it in a magazine. It must be real, guys. So, yeah. And it's incredible. It's the amount of precision that you need to deliver the tofu undamaged. And,
Wow.
And so I think no, I can't. I'll stay here where tofu the tofu delivery mechanism is more straightforward.
Joseph, focus.
So that's funny. I didn't expect that. But yeah, that's the entire initial D comic lah, The guy has to put the tofu, and then if he doesn't break, then he has drifted successfully.
I mean, I don't know what you mean comic. I'm pretty sure it was an instruction manual, the one that I read. So yeah.
Oh, they really there's a manual telling you that you need to drift in order to get past corners, is it?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, troll. It's initial D, anime. That's a comic on initial D. And it's an initial D. They drift. They have to drift along the mountainous regions. And then a test of a good drifter is that they have to put either a cup of water or tofu inside the car. And if it doesn't break or the water doesn't spill out, that means that they drift perfectly. The heck, man. No, hey, Faisal, I know that you've been to Japan like when you were a kid, and tell us more about what are your impressions back then, and maybe we'll try to correlate it to how we are what we experience about Japan now.
Right, you went to Japan in the 90s, right?
In the 90s, yes. So we went to Mount Fuji. Yeah, it was quite high. I don't know how high it is now, but it was pretty high back then. And we went to. I remember we walked past the McDonald's, and I like, oh, McDonald's, and
There was McDonald's on the mountain.
No, in Japan.
In Japan,
near Mount Fuji, yeah. And
near
so-
Mount Fuji. Okay.
Yeah, and I went in, and then I saw McPork, and then I cried, I think. McPork, yeah. They don't serve true, authentic Japanese food at McDonald's, unfortunately. Unlike the McDonald's here in Singapore, where we get samurai burger, which is, I believe, the real taste of Japan.
Wow.
Yes, indeed, truly Japanese samurai burger. Truly authentic.
Fun fact: the final samurai is actually not even Japanese. He's American. Did you know?
Oh yeah.
The final.
Right.
Why sounds so
The final,
familiar?
the final one, or some would say the last samurai.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did the autobiographical film, right?
Yes,
where
his
Tom
name is
Cruise,
Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas, yeah.
Thomas, the last samurai.
Yes.
Thomas.
That was quite a nice film to watch, actually, even though it's a bit colonial, like a bit favoring the Western privilege, but
Oh, yes, a white man to save everybody. Yes.
a white man that goes through the transformation, and then he encounters a foreign culture and therefore is transformed by it. That's quite quite interesting. Quite interesting. Yeah, you all like Japanese films also? Yeah, do you all like Japanese films?
Oh yeah. My favorite Japanese franchise, Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Yeah, my favorite since I was a child. I've been watching it since then, and I'm really happy that they are still producing new movies and new franchise for the Godzilla.
Why do you like Godzilla?
I don't know, man. It's like, if you are familiar with the story, Godzilla was first seen as a monster to the human race, and then after a while it became friends with humans and the Earth, and then it started fighting other monsters that invade Earth. It's like, I don't know, man. It's so cool.
It's interesting because a lot of the Japanese shows and films or anime also, a lot of it actually is about like city destruction.
Yeah.
like nuclear wipe out the city, Evangelion, the city gets destroyed, the Godzilla city gets Ultraman Tiga, Ultraman.
Ultraman
Right,
too, yeah.
Ultraman. And then when we were kids, I think Ultraman kept showing on the TV. And then every episode is the same. It's always him and he transforms and then he fights and then after that he gets beaten by monster. Then there's a sound. Then he goes, Ultraman, there's only 3 minutes before he returns back to his original form. Will he be able to survive? And something like that. Then he defeats the monster and then repeat and repeat and repeat. And we used to watch it when we were kids. But why do you think that?
But it's a bit more than that,
why
right?
is it that they're always about
the
city
common
destruction?
theme among between between Ultraman and Doraemon is their government's efficiency in dealing with disasters. They have a quick response task force for both, and you deal through the bureaucracy very quickly. Yeah, I mean that's what I took away from.
Truly efficient, right? Truly
It's efficient. It's efficient at dealing with disasters. So I tip my hat to the Japanese disaster task force.
And it seems that their way to defeat monsters is to create a bigger version of of a machine or a bigger thing to defeat the monster. Right? What other animes do you watch, and what are the cultural things that you all think about Japan? Like when you were there, especially Jazz or Faisal also. Like talk to me more about it.
I think for me, I was really indulging the anime culture. I think I was in Akihabara. I think I was there. Then there was all these anime mascots coming out, all these advertisement, and then all of a sudden there was this truck passing by, and this truck has a big picture at the back, and it was about gay porn.
Was the truck driving sideways?
Delivering tofu also, right?
It was about gay porn, and it was like driving past with very loud music. He was speaking in Japanese as well. I couldn't understand, but it was such a... In Malay, we call it potong stib. But it was such a kill to the feeling I had at Akihabara. It's like, wow, anime here, anime there. Then suddenly a gay truck passes by with a loud announcement saying, hi, look at me. And then like, okay.
So while not drifting, not exactly driving straight either. Yeah, nailed it.
It is a high level joke, man. But you're killing it. No, but interestingly, do you, like over there, right? When it comes to their above 18 stuff, right? That they don't advertise it. Like what I mean is that you're not allowed to advertise it in public. So how come you get to see these kind of things just in the public?
Yeah, I don't know. It was very weird. Yeah, it was really weird. It took me by surprise also.
What are the interesting things you saw when you were there?
I will need some time to think, but I think nothing that's really out of the blue. Nothing that's so strange. Nothing so strange.
I saw something strange.
What?
I saw something strange.
Car driving sideways.
No. I saw the a group of people playing basketball, and then from the time they were this person was trying to make a shot, and from the time the ball released from his hand to the ball reached the net, it was only 1 or 2 seconds max. But we know this is not true, right? Because if you watch all the animes, from the time the ball leaves your hand to the time the ball reaches the net, it is easily 3 or 4 episodes. And so I found that so jarring when I saw it in real life. That's weird, man.
I see. So you stood there.
I stood there wondering how come I didn't see the person's backstory as the ball was flying through the air.
You didn't hear his thoughts, all this lah.
Yeah, yes. And so it blew my mind, man. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
That's exactly what must happen, right? Like every time we chose the ball, there must be a flashback. Okasa, Oni-chan. They are little kids. Then they have a dinner together. Okasa, don't go, Okasa. Then after that flashback, this is why I must win this basketball tournament for my mother. They throw the ball in, right? That's how an anime episode needs to be like, right?
Yes.
So, Faisal, you are team dubs, not subs.
Yes, team
Oh
dubs
my
for life,
gosh.
man.
So you
Hey, what
watch,
a disgrace lah, Faizal.
so you watch
Team dub.
shows with dubs and not subs.
Yes,
Why?
yes. I mean, it's I don't understand Japanese. I don't know if that came across, but so sometimes you want to, admire the anime itself. So I give you an example. Recently, I watched what's the Miyazaki one? What's the one where they Spirited Away.
Nice.
Spirited Away. Yeah, and Spirited Away, and it was actually a very beautifully illustrated piece. But sometimes you spend time trying to read the words, and then you don't exactly get to see, fully appreciate what is happening in the scene. So for me, for my money, I would rather watch a dub show so that you can really experience what is it that you're watching.
We definitely will not agree with you at all. Because we need the authentic Japanese experience, man.
Nani?
Okay, quick shout outs, favorite anime quotes. Yada yada does it. What other anime quotes you're like?
Mine one punch.
Punch.
Oh my god, you say it so cute, sia, Faizal. One punches.
One punches.
I believe I nailed it again.
I know one of our friends, Adam, loves JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Then, shout out to him, doing all the JoJo impersonations. Yada yada does it. Dio, no tate kuno ka. Then, what else? Nani soro wa baka na. All the anime stuff is always epic, lah. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I think we've got definitely so much more to talk about Japan. But I think, coming back home again, Jazz, maybe the end of the episode, right? He'll talk to us a little bit more about how you've been feeling during this time, and how can we really just give some encouragement to all our fellow Singaporeans.
I think it just goes to say that we are all not in this alone. Yes, some of us the situation has affected us, affected our jobs, our income. Personally, for me, I think I am lucky enough that it doesn't affect my income that much. It does affect my job a lot though. But yeah, as long as there is income, me and my family, we should be fine. To all those out there that's heavily affected, I feel you. It's a tough time, yes, but we'll get through this. I think it's like what the government say, the next couple of weeks will be very, very crucial. So if can, please stay home. Stay home. Don't be in contact with anyone if possible. Go out, just get your essentials and then come back home. Don't meet up with your friends just for these few weeks lah. Don't be doing recordings at the void deck or anything. Just go back home. Yeah, so that's from me. Yeah, what about you guys?
Faisal?
I think it's for me. It's a bit hard to see right now, but I think we have to keep the faith and stay the course. This is something we will get over, and if we stick to the plan, stay at home as much as possible, we will get through this. But we are in this together, just like Justice.
We're really in this together, guys. So to every Singaporean out there, we're cheering you on, and we are here for you. And if you feel like you're going through a really tough time during this time, we go out to our hearts go out to every business owner, every frontline worker out there. Stay the course during this time. Whatever you can do to reduce costs, that would be great. This is not a time to be using your money to anyhow lah. You don't do it anyhow at this point in time. Save it for your future during these few years, and really just know that we are here with you. And if you ever need anything, just know that there are many Singaporeans out there that are more helpers out there than there are people who are takers. There are more people who are givers than hoarders, out there. Let's just really encourage each other throughout this time, and stay safe, Singapore, and we are here with you.
Yep. Okay, so I think that's the end of our episode. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Faizal.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll be doing the next recording in a month's time. So till then, take care, stay safe.
Sayonara. Sayonara.
Jane.
It's me.